Well guys, we did a double feature weekend, which means we went to Georgetown on Saturday night and we went to Dundalk on Sunday. This is our busy season. We're doing 2 derbies a weekend. Next weekend is Brampton on the Saturday, Beaton on the Sunday. So lots of derbies to come, lots of things to do. Let's talk about this Camry. So this is my meltdown Camry and we ran it in Georgetown. To meet the requirements for Georgetown, I was able to put some strut blocks behind it, I was able to put an extra plate, and I was able to put some threaded rod down to sub. How did that turn out for me? The threaded rod, I'm pretty sure, has ripped the frame away. Has it? No, it's still on the frame. It's still there, sort of. Subframe is complete 90. The wiper tray is not a wiper tray anymore. Like guys, this used to be like this wide. Oh, look down there, it's touching. That's right, the wiper tray is touching. So, I think this car is very used up. Step over the mud here. The front bumper held up really good. I think most of the hits near the end were actually into my subframe mounts there and there. As you can see, the sheer amount of damage to the subframe mount. Again, I was nose out as hard as I could. This fender here decided it didn't really want to fend off anything anymore. So it was actually up like that for a bit of the derby. What took me out is this tire is so hard into the firewall here that it's ripping my lugs off and I can't turn. So after the derby, there was a retech, so they drilled a hole right there and drilled a hole right there and they stuck in their cameras. I passed. I believe first and third passed as well, because I was second. Yeah. Honestly guys, this was a hard show. There was a lot of calls for tag teaming, but honestly, there was like 3 guys from one team, 3 guys from another team, and it was basically a small team show going on there, believe it or not. It was very, very hard. Near the end of it, I ended up having some problems with the shifter. I don't know what happened, but it actually bent down, so I had to pull it straight again, which kind of sucked. But just to show you guys how bad this is bending, my brake pedal, I don't know, can you see that? There we go. My brake pedal, you physically cannot push the brake pedal anymore. It is into the firewall. And I only got about quarter throttle because of the firewall. This side over here, the firewall's pushed back so far, you can tell by the computer. The heat went pretty good. What ended up taking me out in the heat, I made a really good hit, backed up, shift from drive to reverse, and what happened was the motor came back and smashed off the throttle position sensor, and it actually killed the car by smashing off the throttle position sensor. I've never had a Camry turn off because of that before, but it did. I lost signal to the crank sensor. So with no signal from the crank sensor, the car will not run. So yeah, we fixed all that. We got some parts. Some of the other drivers were super nice, let us borrow some parts off their cars. And this thing got back into the feature. And it was a very hard derby. It was extremely sore. The back end of this thing, holding together really good. There was some very good tough back shots to it. The rear trailing arms, everything back here, seemed to work out really good. But when you make all the trailing arms tougher, it's going to find the next weakest point. And unfortunately that one is spindle. So the spindle snapped, and then it actually snapped the strut in half too. So we got to figure out what to do for the next derby for this. I haven't really figured it out yet, but we're going to try to figure something out. So we just got to play it by ear and see what we can do. And we got to get a tire back on this, because I am going to run this thing again. There's one more derby around me where this thing can run this year and it's done. So this thing will have, oh, look at that, there's already spiders. Why is there so many spiders out here? Can you guys see that spider? But, like I said, sorry, I got distracted. ADHD right there. We got to get this thing fixed for one more run. So what my plan is cut steel away from this side, because it's right into the tire, which I don't know how I didn't pop any of these tires. This one here is rubbing into the sidewall, and that one right there wasn't even attached half the derby, but I don't know how these things are holding on there, to be honest. And then we're just going to start cutting. Cut as much as we can to make it so that this tire does not completely destroy itself, because it's already destroying itself. And these are my favorite tires right now, so I don't want to have to replace them. You guys can say, oh, put different tires on. Well, I could do that, but they're just going to be ripped apart and then the car's going to get stuck. So why not take the time, cut the car and make some space and see what we can do. But the last derby is just a small fair show with full pro, but some people bring stock, some people bring pro, so it's going to be a lot of work to get this thing up there. I think that we're going to have to refill the torch bottles at least 2 or 3 times for this show. But I think all the struts, all the steel's being bent in them because of how twisted this thing is. Oh well. Scar had a great run. They took top 3 from the heat, and I got 3rd in the heat, which was just lucky because I ended up destroying that other car, and then as soon as he was done, my car died. So pretty lucky. Honestly, guys, it was like just by the hair of my chin that I won that heat. And I didn't even win it, just got to the feature. And then it was diagnosing, trying to fix this thing for the feature. But I've never, ever seen a Camry where you physically cannot push the brake pedal. I posted photos of this on Zach's workshop, and some guys have sent me photos of their cars. I guess it's happened before, but this is the first time for me. The funny thing is they wanted to drill all of our frames for basically because they wanted to hand out the money, and they said they can't really drill this side because it's plate touching a plate touching a plate. I said, well, you can just look through that hole if you want. So they looked through that hole on this side, and then when they seen sub looking like that, they're like, we don't have to drill that. I was like, yep, no, I'm fine with that. If you don't want to drill it, don't drill it. Bumper, mint. This thing here held up fantastically. It did its job. It took most of the abuse that it was given, and it dealt out just as much as it was taken. So she does run and drive. I was just getting stuck, and then the car got so hot that I didn't have power to turn this tire anymore because it was so hard into the body. The steering is getting a little bit difficult to turn, but it's still working. And I was just getting stuck all over the place because of this rear tire. So we're gonna get this rear tire fixed, we're gonna get this car fixed, and then we're gonna run it again. So make sure you guys come back because it's coming up. So what do you guys think? Did you like that run? Did you like me fixing this pile of junk? Well, good news, because I get to fix it again. I seem to have really bad luck with all these cars that put crazy amount of effort in. This is like one of the cars I put a lot of effort in and it actually paid off. I seem to have the most amount of luck with the biggest pieces of junk that should be scrapped that I just say no and keep running them. So, yep, it's still here. It's going to be fixed. So make sure you guys come back and watch some of my upcoming videos on the fixing process and how we are going to scab this thing kind of together, kind of apart to get it back into the ring. There's going to be torches, there's going to be hammers, there's probably going to be some curse words and lots of Monster Energy drinks. So, Swamp Monster is still live. It is living up to its basically namesake because you can never actually kill the Swamp Monster. It's always going to be there and it's always going to be haunting you. So, I don't know, guys. This thing is just, it's not dying. This is the motor that's been down to New York. I think this is the 3rd year in a row, maybe 4th. It's still kicking. I thought the transmission was going, but I guess not. It's just the shifter that's being issues now. But come on back and we'll watch, you can watch me fix this thing and get angry with this thing. And then want to give up and then still get it done and then show up to the Derby and have a great time. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you back here later on Zach's Workshop.